Hello and welcome to another weekly update. Kind of wet and miserable here at the moment. I'm not sure about the weather where you are, but that's how it is in the UK. So first of all, some important news updates that happened last night. So as you know, I was due to be speaking at Microsoft Ignite The Tour Switzerland in Zurich next week. Unfortunately, that event has just been cancelled. It is due to the COVID-19 virus. It's a decision that's mostly been taken out of Microsoft's hands, really. The Swiss government have just imposed a ban on gatherings of more than 1,000 people, and so that really kind of kills it. So it's a real shame, but done, I think, for understandable reasons. I think we all understand why. It's a sort of sensible precaution, I think. So so that's what's happening or not happening to me next week. I'm not going to Zurich, and I will not be speaking. I'm sorry if you were due to go to that event, but let's look forward to more events in the future, hopefully. I think there's lots of content that is still going to be online, so if you were going to be attending, check your emails, because I think there's an email from Microsoft about it. There's lots of online material still available, and the plan is to return in 2021. Alright, some other things that have been happening this week. So the first is, I haven't fully had time to write this up. This is definitely going to be a blog post because it's really quite interesting. But in the meantime, I want to let you people know about it so you get early access before I've written the blog post. And that's something that's been written up by Bill Bliss, a key architect at Microsoft Teams, one of the founding architects, the architect, I guess you could probably say, of Microsoft Teams, technically under the covers. And it concerns some key changes that they're making to some of the Microsoft Teams APIs when it comes to fetching team members and members of chats. And really this is in response to the way Teams has grown and become more popular, and some of the maximum sizes around Teams has grown a lot. So now Teams can contain considerably more members than they used to. And for that reason, some of the APIs are quite long running. So there's an API call at the moment to go and get members from a team or a chat. Now, if your team has got 2,500 people in it, I think that's the new maximum. I can't really remember. Maybe it's 1,000. But whatever it is, that's going to take a long time to return. And also, along with that, you really only get the IDs. You don't get any other information. So if you care about the other information, so if you want some profile information, in order to show some information about those users, you have to go and get that profile information individually for every user, and it takes a very long time. So it's kind of a bit crazy. All right, so that's going to change. Specifically, the changes are going to be to introduce paging, to make it easier to retrieve basic profile information, and those two things combined should solve this immediate problem, hopefully. So these are coming. They're not here kind of yet. The old API calls will continue to work. Once the new ones are available, the old ones won't stop working straight away. They will get deprecated, and then at some point, probably next year, they will stop working. So this is good news for developers hitting those limits and bumping up against challenges getting data at scale. So from experience, I know that's a problem Modality has with some of its products. So this is a very welcome addition. So I look forward to putting some of this stuff in. But also, if you do all these today and you're not hitting these limits, you don't have to do anything straight away. But just be aware that these are being deprecated. So you will have to do something in the next 12 months. All right. What else? So there's a good write-up from the Bot Framework team, just kind of rounding off the things that are new. And we've talked about some of these already, I think. But it's good to see the Bot Framework team doing this monthly cadence of updates as well. I think that's really good. It helps keep everybody on top of what all the changes, because the changes are coming and they're exciting, and the pace of changes is kind of is ongoing. So if you're really into Go, so interestingly and surprisingly, slightly randomly, I was sitting in a session yesterday about Go, so I went to a conference here in Norfolk, so sitting in a session about Go. Now there is now a Go SDK for the Bot Framework, so community effort, The people at InfraCloud have kindly built one, and even more kindly have made it open source. So that's really cool. So if you're into Go and you're into Bot Framework, there is an SDK for you. And then the adaptive card prompts I've talked about before, they're a very welcome addition, but they're mentioned in this kind of February roundup. And then something else I didn't know about is an adapter for JavaScript and TypeScript for Alexa. So that's interesting. So I've known, I don't know if you've known, we've known, I'd say, that Alexa has been something you can do with the bot framework. It's kind of interesting, but it's a community effort. Yeah, so it looks like that has evolved. I'm just kind of speed reading this here. It looks like that's evolved, so you can now use, there's a TypeScript implementation to make it even easier to use, basically, and you can also install it from NPM. So it's becoming a real thing. Like, so if you want to use the bot framework to create Alexa skills, actually you should look into this, because this makes it a lot easier than it would be otherwise. Nice. All right, I think that's everything from me. A bit of a kind of mishmash of different things, because I had planned to tell you all about the things I was doing next week in Zurich, but I will not be doing that now. So I wanted to cover off the things that were new and exciting. So all change. But that's the way it goes. All right, so have a great weekend. I hope the weather is better than the weather is for me. I think that's everything. Let me know what the sound is like. So I've got a new microphone I'm trying out. So no lapel, you'll notice. So just trying this one. It's a bit more directional. Hoping it might be quite good at conferences and events. That's why I'm planning on using it. Was planning on using it next week in Zurich, but never mind. Let's see how it goes. Anyway, have a great weekend, and I will speak to you again next time.